guess we might as well go right
Let's go
along.
straight on and save some of that stuff for later.
Project change discussion, notice of intent, 305 Taylor Street.
Do you want to do any of those?
305 Foster Street. There's, in the administrative discussion, there's two things
We've got
that we
Some
can,
of others that are here first, so let's just go through administrative and see who's here, so we know.
the 628 Newtown Road and 97 Mill Road are here. The rest, I think we can push off.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just jump to the 750 and get one or two done, and then come back into administrative discussions.
Notice of intent, 305 Taylor Street, R10-2-1.
Foster Street.
Mass.
That's why it got corrected. It's Taylor.
Oh, it's Taylor.
Or Foster, sorry. I had the right one.
And Introduce
Oh.
yourself.
DEP
Wait, is it
number is
Foster?
204-850.
Good evening. Chris McKenzie from Whitman and Bingham Associates. Project here at 305 Foster Street. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. We came in with a filing a year or so ago for a septic system upgrade. Some of the work was in the buffer zone primarily on this end of the septic system. As part of the design plan, we had to cut into the existing parking lot, and I brought along some original design plans that were done back in the 1980s. The parking lot came way back, and there was a kind of a horseshoe in it. And this all comes downhill from the top part of the parking lot all the way down. And it all the stormwater that came from the parking lot all came down to a double catch basin down here to a 12-inch RCP outlet pipe that came out over here. The original design plan called for the pavement to be cut and then a swale to be constructed with a new high point located here and a swale coming down to a catch basin located there and piping over and tying into the original design plan piping. Show you that on here so you can get a real idea of where it was. So the system's going in down here. There's the little horseshoe part. Here's the drainage pipe coming down with an outlet over here. The double catch basin down here with that is what was handling all the flow from this whole part of the parking lot down to here. This pipe and this outlet, if you follow the trail back, this catch basin here, this is all going uphill towards the Taylor Street and Foster Street intersection. So this piping is really handling all the flow from about halfway through the parking lot here and down and around and coming out down here. And all this flow is coming down into this catch basin here and flowing out to that location. So in reality, what we were doing, we were putting a new catch basin here and piping it to this pipe. We're actually changing the stormwater flows out there. And we're actually adding water to this area, and we're taking it away from this area. Eventually, all of this, just to orientate a little bit, there's the building we're working on. Our septic system's getting installed here. So this pipe, existing, pipes out to here and comes around the other building and comes down to a wetland right next to 495 and Route 2. Any water that comes down the parking lot this way and was coming out the pipe would flow down here to a concrete swale that's alongside the highway and runs down and dumps down into that same wetland way down here. So eventually all the water goes to that same location. It's just a matter of how it gets there. So what we're proposing to do now is to based on the contractor, Ryan Smith, he's here and he can speak about this if you'd like. But what he found is that this old piping that's from 1980-something is going to have a hard time tying into it. And the slopes that we need to work the pipe going back are going to be very tight. He's also very concerned that if he gets into this, it's going to cause a problem with the existing drainage system. So what we're proposing to do is to reverse the swale that we initially proposed, have the high point be located here, swale it down this way, down and around alongside the property line, emptying out here within about 20 or 30 feet of that original location.
So can you point on this big map where that new location is that you're talking about?
Yeah. What we would do, the system's going in right here.
Okay.
All right, and so we're initially talking about a swale coming this way to a catch basin here and flowing that way. What we're gonna do is reverse that swale to this way and wrap it around here and come out down right about here, if that's where the existing one
And that's the one that goes to the concrete culvert next to the highway?
Eventually, yeah. The ramp for Route 2 is right there, so this eventually comes down. There's a couple of berm things and stuff like that that the state or whoever must have done when they built the highway. But eventually that comes down to the swale that goes down and around.
And
Yes,
that's
I
pretty
would-
much the pre-existing drainage pattern
Condition,
was
right,
that way.
right.
I would be concerned, though, that anything that's drainage along a highway is going to get more contribution from the highway, no?
No, because we're not, what we're actually doing is we're putting everything back the way it was.
I know, but
Initially,
if you
this
run
water
a-
was coming down to a catch basin here and dumping out at a culvert right here.
Yes, but it goes along a highway and it accumulates dirt and all the just
Particulates,
debris
tire
and
dust.
particulates
Fuel.
from all the traffic. So I would rather keep the water, the drainage away from the highway than personal. That
Okay,
would be
well,
my personal
let's not get
preference to have-
confused. This is not a direct connection into the swale. The swale is about maybe 100 and 150 feet away.
But it
where
eventually
this is
leads
gonna-
there, right, you said?
Well, the 495 swale already gets flushed by 495 drainage.
Right. That's already all going down there. That's already coming down there. This water here, this is all relatively flat. It's a little bit of a slope through here, but there's no channel or flow going in that direction. It's just where everything was dumping out at and probably mostly soaking into the ground. Based on the topography there, there were a couple of berms. There's a berm that kind of runs right across here somewhere, and this is a big high point up here. So there's a lot of area for the water to be treated before it even gets to that swale. I don't think any of it will actually get to the swale. The idea of the only reason we brought up the swale is to show that any water that comes this way is still going to go where it always has gone, and that's down to this wetland down below.
So I think some of the keywords I focused in on your presentation that makes me just a little bit nervous of making a substantial change like that is when you're saying approximately 20 to 30 feet, you use words of probably or mostly. When we're talking about wetland science here, and we're also talking about stormwater, really numbers that should have already been previewed during the prior application, I feel like this could potentially be a significant change. So I
It's
just want to make sure it seems a little bit unsure of what perhaps your data is more specific to the change?
well, can I clarify a couple of things?
The
if you don't
20 to
mind?
30, or the probably, or the mostly?
Well, the 20 to 30, I can scale it off of the plan, and we can get an exact number and tell you it's 23. That's not a big deal. This area that was paved is now going to be loam. It's going to be a septic system there. So we're eliminating a huge area of impervious area, okay? And then our original proposal was actually changing the drainage of the area because we were taking this water that naturally came this way and came down and went that way. We were taking it, sending it over here and sending it down around through a culvert that's underneath the road, the entrance. So I'd be concerned about whether or not that culvert can handle the additional flow that we're sending in that direction. Because that was not necessarily originally designed for water coming from here. When they did the design of these culverts, they probably designed it based on the drainage on the site.
So where's your current plan? This one's dated 1999.
This is not my plan. This is the original, this was a plan done by others
Okay.
of the existing conditions of the site at the time. I only brought this to show you what was there before we started,
Yeah, that's good, because.
okay?
Okay.
I do have a copy of our original plan if you'd like to look at that. I just blew up the area that we were working with in here for this purpose. If you'd like, I can break out the big plan.
Thoughts?
Maybe a sidewalk would be helpful.
I'm sorry, where is your septic now, did you say?
The existing septic
Yes.
system, it's under the parking lot, way at the top, and under the parking lot, right behind the building.
So there's-
And it's full of water.
The septic will bring additional water to that location, is that, at least
Not surface
groundwater. Groundwater.
Yeah,
So we'll add
It's
to the.
infiltrated.
26,
You
2018.
need a sequence of what's going on now so that you can your paperwork can get caught up to what's been done so far and what's being proposed. Because you're asking for a change, a field change, hasn't told you exactly where you are in the field at the moment. So outside of,
Which isn't necessarily that unusual. for
Well,
a
and-
mid-construction field change.
If I-
It's often
Right,
just,
but if-
it's just the new plan in the file.
If I could interrupt, we're actually eliminating work that was being proposed in the buffer zone, and this work is not in any buffer zone.
And you have a large plan of that to submit.
This is the plan we're submitting as the field change. It was
Can
prepared
you submit
specifically for that
maybe
purpose.
the larger plan with the bubbles on it that show what's not being done and what is being changed?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
So that would be the plan of record, basically?
yeah, that's fine.
It would be based on this, but then you'd also have
It's
the
a-
bubble around the,
For me, it's all in the same drawing, really. This is just produced to make it simpler to look at, instead of presenting a whole entire plan
Well,
again.
Right, but when Amy or a commissioner or someone goes out, they want to be able to have
Mm-hmm.
something that's going to have the legend on that.
Yeah, I can revise this to show that.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Do I hear your second? to-
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that would, just to note of order, when that plan is submitted, then that is.
I'll write the letter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Guess we go to the next one, 8 o'clock hearing. Continued public hearing, notice of intent, 107 Harvard Road.
That was the one where you had basically approved it. They were just waiting to make sure that the Board of Health didn't have any changes. Board of Health didn't have any changes. So if you're so inclined, you can close it and vote on it.
Somebody make a motion to close it and issue an order of conditions, please.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and issue an order of conditions for 107 Harvard Road, DEP file number 204-865.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we're down to continued discussion enforcement order at 65 Hartwell Ave.
After which we might want to jump back to some of the earlier pieces.
Phil Pittarino, 65 Hartwell Ave. This is the letter from Oxbow. You asked me to bring a couple copies, so I made 2 copies with the map.
Do you just want to kind of give an update from where you were at the last meeting to now?
I pulled all the heavy silt from the conservation restriction line back, redid that silt fence, put another row of silt fence with hay bales at the conservation restriction line, put the boulders in with stone in between to stabilize that, and then silt fence at the top of the slope. Hoping to loom it this week. I've been waiting for the slope to tighten up. It's a little soft, but I should be able to get it loomed this week and seeded. I tried to do some cleanup. It's still too wet. The silt's just sticking to the mud. It's just making more of a mess than it is doing.
Here's
good.
some
I put these straw
Old and new
water.
photos, or May 1st photos. So
I put the
they're-
straw water up the wetland as well, just keep everything going farther.
So, thank you.
Just went like,
We had the experience of watching a propane truck backing in while we were there, and we were kind of wondering if it was going to end up in the brook.
so, yeah.
We're not
So
engineers, so we
anyway,
asked for,
I
we asked
agree,
for
I
engineers.
agree with what you're
input.
saying, I agree with what Sarah's saying.
So what are we tasking him to do? So let's be clear. So if you want him to put filter fabric and more stoning, he's going to have to go back and redo some of the erosion control. You're asking him for an as-built as well. So-
I thought he already put this filter fabric in.
No.
They
Listen,
amended the plan
Right.
to add that back in.
There's a detail.
And I was
Of
hoping
what
that it would slope the driveway
confused.
just enough so that where the water goes off is further back from the
Right.
bridge, so that it has a chance to go into the settling area first, before it goes back into the stream.
Stream.
Sounds like Goddard needs to look at that a
Yeah.
little bit more
I'm sorry for,
for what he's asking.
yeah, so, I'm sorry, I was getting distracted. But if you talk about when you're going to do this, because then Goddard was going to observe and John Field was also going to observe, just to make sure that the filter fabricator got towed in correctly. So they can assess, Goddard could assess the rest of the situation at the same time, make sure it's all,
Just have to make sure
Tucked
erosion
in.
controls are,
yeah.
they may need to be refreshed.
Is the grade changing on the driveway, or is it staying?
No, it's,
low?
if you
vertical?
remember, it's only about a two-foot
Yeah,
okay?
No, I
you know,
understand that. I
This
was,
isn't a big area, so the filter fabric, the riprap should be more than sufficient.
Yeah, what Jim was saying, the slope should maybe be changed,
Yeah.
going off.
Yeah, back further so you're not eroding
would be
right
a
next to the
change.
bridge. Well, you know, respectfully, that's why we had an engineer look at it, so he's.
I'm
just- Yeah, but- yeah, yeah, but-
That's my opinion.
Yeah, but the engineer was the same person that developed the site.
I think he's not talking about structure. I think, just to clarify, he's not talking about the structure at this point. He's talking about where, like, directing the rain, back towards the house versus up towards where the street is.
I think it does dip down there. Okay, but they can shoot the grade and show that.
Okay. Yeah, that's what he was
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah,
not the structure.
No, I
Okay.
appreciate that.
So how do we get,
Again, we got to be really careful on this site because it's such a fragile island that was developed.
Yeah.
So the agreement was that this plan would be in, and it wasn't entirely clear if the work would be done within 10 days, which was today. So you've got the plan. So I don't know if you just need some assurance when this is going to happen.
Well, I would have done it, but there's,
Well, I only just got the plan
No.
on Friday.
yeah, but nobody,
okay, so going forward, we meet again in a few weeks, so we'd like to have the work done before the next meeting. And
That's
so the
fine.
plan should be done. If you have any questions, Goddard should call Amy or.
So have the work
Okay.
and including the as-built by
Correct.
June 4th.
so this will be the final as-built, so.
Correct.
So we might as well have him prepare a certificate of compliance request then too.
Do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Administrative discussions, would I like to go to 97 Mill Road and informal discussion? You're the spokesperson, huh?
Yeah, I am. Well, first of all, I want to all
Chuck, there's a seat for you up here too.
yes, he's trying to hide. Right here.
I have an engineer here as well.
Come on, you can sit up
Is this the sawmill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some commissioners know it because of the adjacent property as well, so I don't know how many commissioners have ever been on this property.
Many times.
Some of us.
I've never been on it.
I want
So-
my family to get wood.
Before
Good.
before how it existed years ago.
Oh,
So I think it's
Going
good
to
to just kind of go
60
back and
years.
so acclimate so people know where the sawmill was, properties, as they're looking at it, because some commissioners have never been.
Okay, this is on the corner of Warren Road and Mill Road. You can see it from 495 is right here. Basically, you drive in.
Entrance.
So this is Parley.
Yep.
Yeah, Polly
So
lumber.
the entrance is over here.
The oldest working
Yeah.
sawmill until.
You bought it.
Nice.
so it stopped working.
Go ahead, do it now.
Okay.
All right.
Tell us what the color code is for that versus the lighter.
Well, these are, the gray is concrete slabs. These are existing buildings. And,
Wow. They didn't happen in Selectmen like you.
See? You should have learned from me.
what we were proposing, and which we need to have a site walk, because this has actually all been disturbed and graded, and this is where lumber was stockpiled. It's all been filled over a period of years, I guess, what, 1950?
Since the 1970s, since 495 when it
Yeah, before, I think, well, Henry bought it at, I think in 50,
Something similar to that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah, so
before
outside
49
storage was all.
Drive.
Yeah, because they,
Yeah.
they rerouted the brook. I guess the brook was over
Yep.
here, and they rerouted this.
Oh, the brook used to go right underneath the mill.
They had the grist mill was
Yeah,
over here, I guess.
kind of ended the existing sawmill.
You talking about the one that goes into the pond now that wants to be dredged? Is that one?
Yeah, it used to come right through there.
Oh. Interesting.
But what we're proposing is to,
Old area.
we have a couple of, we want to remove a couple of these structures. And this is in the floodplain area. We would like to use the volume from that and fill this area here. We haven't, so that we can use a,
Where is that on the big, where is that fill area?
It's right by the riverfront.
Is that the kiln?
the kiln is over here.
Okay.
This is
Fills between.
this
the
is a
riverfront
garage,
and
and it's in the,
So it's adding to that
Where's-
middle building
Where's the
right there.
tank for the sawdust?
there's one here
Yeah.
and one here.
Okay, which ones do you take? You taking those out?
This would be out, this would be out, that tank, the office, and this,
And instead you're making that big red building.
yes.
Okay.
That's the existing,
This is the big garage. What we actually,
Floor.
but because there's a strip in here that's in the floodplain, we'd like to use that volume, take it out of the, take this out of that, and build this up to get that out of the floodplain. Because we have a septic system designed right here, but we'd like to be able to show a reserve also in there, you know, to have it better meet the Title V.
Did you do a 21E? Or did you-
Yep.
Environmental?
Yes. Yep.
So how is the floor in the garage? Is it like oil stained? Are you anticipating issues with that at all?
We haven't,
Like impacted soil under the?
we haven't checked anything on that, really. I don't think that did the, I don't know
If
if,
it was in your report or something?
No, the first report did not include the cement floor of that building.
that's
Okay.
great, that
So
was
they
all
inspected?
sand filled before, back with the foundation. I remember seeing them do it.
They use oil on the saws, right?
Yeah, but that's not the
Yeah, garage,
saw,
The sawmill was up-
sawmill was up
Yeah.
it's
closest.
up here.
but a
Not
garage
down
and a
there.
workstation
But that also
usually
had
means
storage and.
like vehicles and equipment maintenance, and that's typically what is.
There
So I was
wasn't
just
there wasn't a
asking,
lot
just-
though, because this was
They're
outside the
using it as
storage
the
here.
milling.
Yeah, it wasn't like when you think of big construction vehicles there, because it was just
Yep.
outside storage, so.
Yeah, I was just thinking like equipment maintenance. and
Right.
Like a machine shop or something
Yep.
like that. That's all.
So for those people that haven't been out here, the brook is very defined. So when you look at the aerial, the outside storage was very, very close. So they did use the footprint of the building, I mean, of the lot. So I think going forward, while it's in the floodplain, it doesn't really flood. So I think that's interesting having to see that, because the other side definitely floods, the other side of Mill Road.
My understanding, I think that culvert is what's, on the bridge is what slows the flow down. But
It's good to see things out of the floodplain and out of the riverfront area.
yeah, we're trying to clean up, you know, miscellaneous stuff, bring it up here. But one of the questions is, in order to take that out of the floodplain and fill this area, is that local or is that federal to remove this from the floodplain area?
It's a FEMA does flood maps,
That's- If
Yeah,
it's
but that's if
outside
you
of,
want to change the map.
right?
it's outside
Floodplain
of,
filling, so I know, is just through the Wetlands Protection Act. But I would not know if
I
you
don't
have
think
any
we
other
can-
federal responsibilities.
so it looks like they're filling outside of the riverfront area or the Hartford buffer, so why it wouldn't be our
Actually, it's all
jurisdiction?
filled.
Flood,
Right.
floodplain,
It's all
our
filled.
floodplain's a 100-year flood.
But I'm wondering, are you talking in terms of, like, insurance
say
for the
100
building or that type of thing?
No, it's just, no,
Okay.
we want to take that,
Adding some fill.
Yeah.
this
No,
out.
I get that. I
Yeah.
definitely get that, and
And
I get the philosophy behind it. I'm just wondering.
So what is the proposal? Am I missing?
This is second page?
FEMA sets flood zones.
I see the second pane, the red.
WPA
Yeah.
doesn't set.
Yeah, basically,
I saw what I saw what
to
it said.
remove,
Yeah.
to remove this building, this building.
Yeah,
This building,
Yeah.
this building, and then this, get rid of it, fill in this area from the storage from that, and then that will be a proposed office and building there.
so is it one building
Yes.
that's being proposed?
Yeah.
And it's a office type of,
Office and warehouse, or garage, we're not totally sure yet.
It would be helpful if you, on your new plan with the new building, to put sort of an indication of what old buildings have been removed, like just mark them. like
Right.
removed.
Just have a way that you folks do a site walk and have Brian point things out.
Yep.
Would be a lot more of an explanation.
I agree.
Yeah.
And in the corner is the existing pervious areas, and then on the second page is the proposed, which is cutting down the impervious, by removing the buildings and concrete.
So are you gonna propose to keep it gravel driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
We, only on this part, there may be, we'd like to do something at the entranceway here, because water comes down on this corner and runs into the parking lot. We'd like to be, at some point, that's a ways, this is just something to run by a conceptual right now, but there's a lot of work to do.
I'm just kind of surprised you turned around the building. Not working, I can see the mill going, see the office going, the tank, the sawdust sheds and stuff, I'm just kind of surprised you'd tear that other major building down.
Well, we've been kicking around different things, but in order to, we think it's better suited to pull that right out of the
Yeah, well, it's fine.
floodplain and build this up. This is about the only area for a septic system. We have ledge in a few different
Yeah.
spots, so,
Yeah.
you can't put a septic, too far away.
So you said office industrial, what kind of use would that be?
He's doing that by removing.
Like, who would you expect to be a tenant? Someone that buys it? What would they do?
Well, it's probably Neshoba Corporation.
No, he's asking who the future tenant might be.
Yeah, future tenant, who would,
Like,
who would?
what would be the
who-
use
What would be
of
the
that?
use of it? I just want to get it clear in my head.
Oh,
What would be the,
Neshoba Corporation may move their business there.
so does that be asphalt, or? Is that what you mean?
They do paving, they also do excavation. They
You'd
don't,
be storing
they
your
don't
feet.
process,
So be storing their, so be basically
Possible.
storing their vehicles.
Right, so that's why they're trying to get
Yeah,
things
and I
out.
just want to get an
Yeah.
idea.
that's why we're trying to have a garage area to, any of the trucks stay inside the garage. The bigger trucks.
So,
I want to be clear on the requirement, if you do fill floodplain, is it a one-to-one? You have to provide compensatory?
I don't think it's not flooded.
It's
It
in the
doesn't
100-year
matter, though,
floodplain.
it's a
so
line.
it's-
Floodplain, so what would they have to do to compensate for the building? Like you said, that they're
There's
taking
no,
buildings
I
down.
am assuming there's no wildlife habitat in that floodplain right now.
Yeah, no.
So it is just a compensatory storage.
No, unless Chuck just put something there.
So you guys haven't done the compensatory
Builders
storage
don't.
calculation to see if it's balanced, what you're
Yeah,
removing?
well,
versus
no,
filling?
these numbers here are actually, there is the numbers on the left show what the,
Sure those right
So it would be the floodplain, the third one down, the 11,783,
That's the existing,
That's square feet, though, it's not volume.
that's existing, but then the proposed is actually cutting it down to 5,800.
But Amy says you might have to do it by volume and not square foot.
You have to do it by cubic feet, so.
Yeah, which is fine,
Yeah, we'd have to see that.
oh, yeah, no, this is, yeah.
So this is all just conceptual. I think what they were hoping to
Really
do is
need
to
to go
come
and see.
out, look at the site, and then you can see what's going, and to see what the balance is by removing, then kind of looking towards the
I
new.
just didn't know what the requirements were
Right.
for that,
Yeah.
so that's good.
So my concern with sites like this that are, this could be similar to the site, Stone
Oh,
Yard,
Stoneyard.
where you have, it keeps creeping,
Mhm.
and I think that we have to be really careful since we're starting a project. We've had experience with a bad project, it's taken a lot of our time, that we don't, if we're type of business that you may find here, may bring in a lot of material, and we may wind up kind of fighting the same issues. So I
Right.
think I'd like to make a lot of that stuff clear up front,
Yep.
and maybe do what we need to do on the site, so that doesn't occur, because I could see that same thing happening again.
Yeah, I agree with James. It's good to go out to see the site. Definitely.
Is it possible to stake this out, Brian, with you, or is that not gonna be possible?
Or just ballpark.
Ballpark on the ground or something?
Yeah, I think we could,
Or maybe even where the riverfront area is,
Yeah.
kind of take the opposite approach.
And floodplain, maybe floodplain.
Well, you know where the floodplain is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you fill the area that you excavate? Like, what happens to that hole?
This,
Yeah,
That'd
or is
be
it just
brought-
terraced?
just brought right down the grade, because that's the.
Sorry.
Wrong answer.
Were you making a point?
What are you doing with the grade?
Sorry, I didn't mean it.
So, okay, so you're not planning on, like, bringing,
No, that would be brought down to
Terraced out or
to the
graded out.
existing grade,
Okay.
and then that's the material that we want to put over here to bring this out of the
yep,
flood.
understood. I'm just wondering what removed material. About how much is it? Does it say on here? How much?
How big is the building?
6,000, see, 5,000 square feet, yeah.
Depends how deep the
That's all
floodplain is
fill.
right
Must
there.
be, what,
13.
3 feet?
5,100 plus
I
13.
think I figured about 2 feet average, but
But is that a solid building, or would the floodplain just fill
All
the
of
building?
this stuff is also on.
Cement building,
Yeah.
So
cement
it's just
wall all
open.
around it
Yeah.
with the steel. and
Yeah,
things.
Essentially, the water
Driven
right
by-
there.
it's a
I know.
slab,
So
the
this is the
top
one
of the
that would
slab
come
is
That would come out.
6 inches
They could
above
get
the floodplain
that
elevation.
road
And
fixed
this side, you
in
got
town,
4
because
feet
that
of
water just
showing
runs
because
down
it's
that
a loading
It
dock.
rushes right onto their
And then as you
property.
come around here, it ramps out, but you have,
Yeah, there's storm.
Ross has been doing some of the calculations, but
Mm-hmm.
we were just trying to get, something going conceptual, just to get the ball rolling.
Mhm.
Have you thought about your stormwater control much yet, or not so much?
I was still trying to,
Conceptual
that's,
placement?
that's the discussion on
Yep,
what
yeah,
and where.
your run-on,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay,
This is the building you're talking about taking down.
that one's this.
Yeah.
This
Huge.
one, this one looks gone already.
That, no, that's the mill.
Set up a site.
Right, do we want to set up
Yeah.
a sidewalk?
Do you want to do the site walk now, or do you want to wait until it's better plans? I don't know how you want to,
Almost think,
how close do you think you are to filing something? Let's put it that way.
Well, I think it's more important to have a site walk first, and then that way, that gives us a little bit more guidance too.
Gives us some direction.
Yeah.
Do Wednesday or Sunday? Can't do Friday. I've already been on site though, so it's not, I know it's fine.
I can't do Friday.
It's up to you
Not this
guys,
week.
just pick another day.
Friday works. Wednesday I could do like around 6. if that
Yeah, I
works.
could do Wednesday at 6 or Friday.
Carl, are you around Wednesday? Anna?
I might be able to do that, although I'm usually home at 6:30.
Still got daylight.
So I could join you if you want to start at 6, I could join you at 6:30.
You won't need 30 minutes. Pretty small.
About 6:30 in the morning.
6:30.
Nope.
It's the best time of the day.
Some bird.
Carl, Wednesday?
Wednesday, sure.
I can't start that.
All right, are you guys doing it 6 or 6:30? So Amy can send out a reminder. So Wednesday,
Do 6:30. 6:30 is fine.
okay,
Okay, 6:30.
Wednesday, 6:30, at the mill. Great, all right, thank you.
All right, now work on trying to get some proposed building stakes and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Or marked on the ground or something.
Yeah.
Some
Okay.
paint or something.
Okay,
Yep.
cool, thanks.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
So you got something else to like?
Yeah, can I just sneak in one more person so they can get out of here? This is
Should make a copy of it for the
a
file.
new owner
That's a good
over
picture.
at Durkey Farm for, where are you again?
That doesn't show
9 Spruce?
Before.
Oh, no.
So, as required, one of the new owners of Lot 9.
No,
Oh.
lot 23.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right. Is coming in, just have a quick discussion as per the order conditions.
I'm just gonna spare it.
For a second.
Orient.
I noticed that changed. So that's the,
Right. Is this the new one?
So,
that's the old one.
what are you?
Right.
I, so there's another. So it actually is.
They probably have the new.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I was excited. Still haven't followed her yet? Which is great.
Yeah, the
So yeah, we
wildlife
have
access.
a wildlife access corridor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, so it
They can
can,
hit the waterfront over there.
do you wanna just,
And there's the
someone
wetland in the back.
wanna chat with them about why we asked them to come in and we'd like to do that? Rachel, you wanna do it?
Sure. So we've asked you to come in to understand what the limitations of being on a site that has these types of access ways to waterways and to wildlife. So if you're going to do any work on property within the buffer zone, you have to come to us with no work within 50 feet and some work within 100. But you also have to come to us to talk about it and get permission.
Right, 100 feet's the trigger
Yeah.
100.
for a notice of intent.
I don't think that, well, I
Did
don't.
you see on the map?
This isn't here.
Kind of.
These are wetland flags too, though. You have a wetland
Yeah.
back here, and
Yeah.
so the buffer
Yep.
zone comes, you know, basically right to the back of your house, and that looks like it's a
That's a
30
slightly old plan, so the house
That's
may have
right.
changed.
Okay,
It's
so-
shifted since.
Okay. But, I mean, you get the idea, right?
Yep.
It's fairly close, so, you know, if you're gonna do work.
So
it's
like
gonna
no
tr-
grass clippings, you don't blow leaves and things back there, so you wanna kind of leave it so in an undisturbed manner for that.
But if you want to put in a fence or a shed, give me a call and we'll figure out what
Okay.
you might need to do.
And the wildlife area, that needs to be just let go? Or do they have to manage it in some way?
They don't have to, the association.
Yeah, you don't.
The association does it?
Okay.
Okay.
So that's part of an annual mowing, isn't it?
I know, and I've read the minutes on this,
Right.
especially
Right.
trying to
Right.
understand
Right.
this.
We paid attention to all these, but
Planting plans.
Yeah.
Read your deed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we've read about stuff
Yep.
in minutes on this. We know there's supposed to be some plantings or something happening once lot
natural
22
plantings
is
after
supposed to go
22 is
in.
done.
So we know this is all open up until here. Is there plantings going on all the way? Is there grass or is it going to be more trees? Because we know the farm pond has been a discussion, so we didn't know what was happening on our property. So,
Multi-level shrubs.
There's a little bit of a higher area by the road. There's a 30-foot wide strip, and that's a lot of that. And there's just going to be some natural extensions from basically the curb onto the tree line. And that links up with it.
What's
So
the
there's some
timing-
stuff going on
timing
still.
that, so they know?
When the area is a little bit more stable,
Okay.
we can go over that. I have a planning.
Yeah, so what we do is we always encourage whenever you have a question, before you do anything, just give us a call.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool, we appreciate, welcome you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks.
Take care, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Guess we go back to continue.
Yes, sorry.
Request for certificate of compliance, 417 King Street. Is that you?
Good evening, I'm Kevin Conover from David Ross Associates, and we're requesting a certificate of compliance for 417 King Street in Littleton. This was the as-built plan that was submitted to the Conservation Commission, I think, a couple months ago, showing the improvements that were made based upon the approved plan, which was underneath. The whole site's been stabilized. It kind of highlighted the areas of interest here, showing the existing building, the drain spouts that are going into 2 Coltech chambers to cut down the stormwater that's going into this channel that was created. Reminding you, we came here because it was determined that this was not a farmer's ditch or a drainage swale. It was an intermittent stream that came from up here somewhere behind the dance studio, the elderly housing, and all the way down the street to Badger Funeral Home beyond that. So we created this trench. It looks great. It's filled with stone.
How's it working?
Not working.
Excuse me?
Nowhere?
It's not working.
It's not working?
You
My
mean,
yard is flooding out. It's flooded out 4 times this season already.
you're the next, you're
I'm
over
the property
there?
next to it.
Is that different than what pre-construction?
Yes.
Is it because it's a wet year?
My
or-
yard never flooded out unless it was a hurricane. And then it was like, whatever, the hurricane's gonna bring whatever it brings, but,
Can you come up and show exactly where it's flooding?
this
This is the concern.
different drawing.
That's the proposed, yeah.
We didn't know.
As, I don't know, let's see, on how to make it
Here's
from
the
here.
house. Here's the stone, and this is the elderly housing, Littleton here.
Okay, yeah.
Your lot is over here.
Correct. So, I'm not sure how this is here. Where's the pipe coming through?
This is the
There's the
pipe.
pipe coming
The
through,
yellow
okay.
is the pipe.
This stoneway, as I, which is this pipe coming across here, and it says proposed 1.5 foot wide by 1 foot deep drainage swale going through here. But all that is on here is like riprap or whatever is all kind of breadcrumbed along here. There's nothing deep at all to carry the water. So the water's coming down through this here, and it just dishes right over onto the property prior to, so the water makes it over to my drainage.
We call it a dry well,
They're calling it a dry well, it's just, there's a bunch of stone there that hooks up to a pipe, and the pipe goes right underneath the ground and outside of, it goes under my garage.
A drain tile?
And then it comes out onto the property next to that, which he has like a make-believe storm brook way that carries the water across his property. But this is, the water's coming across and just, it spills out onto my yard, so my whole yard here gets flooded out.
It's not good.
So that's just some-
Needs more armor on
I
that
guess the
side.
question-
What I would,
To direct
if I
it.
could make a suggestion, is that coming out of the pipe, if they do, similar to what's written here, is, it's 1.5 foot wide by 1 foot deep, and you, as in, I saw on the other page here, it's, you make a box, and you fill it with stone, but you wrap it with the material, so to keep the topsoil from coming in and clogging that stone. And that way that stone can carry it over to my stone area, But right now,
We
there's
didn't-
nothing to
we
carry.
didn't
It's just
engineer it.
across the top of the
We
ground.
had no idea what it was gonna
Spills
do,
over.
because we didn't know how
Now,
much water was
we
being
made
carried down.
inspections on this site, three times in November, once in January, and twice in March. And the only water we found was in this area over here. And if you go out on the site, there is some leaves and some silt and stuff that comes from over here. So, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna show pictures of it flooding, but, you know, this was built in accordance with the design plan.
It doesn't mean it worked.
Well,
So-
That's the
Well,
that's the problem.
Can we, for one second, so we
Because
know we're
we-
supposed to have rain tomorrow, correct?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was.
Don't know how heavy it's gonna
It
be.
was
The
forecasted.
last couple of storms were, substantial rain. And
Shouldn't matter.
the water just flowed right out of, and I have
Yeah, we've had it wet like
a little
2
movie,
weeks.
that
It's been
I
wet.
took of the water
yeah.
coming out and coming down.
It shouldn't matter. It should be, if we're doing improvements like this, it should lessen your issue.
well, it's a brook, we have to remember that, right? So it's gonna flow.
Yeah, but we knew, that was part of our issue that we had with the
Right.
construction, if you remember correctly.
Right.
We knew that was a lot of water coming down through there. So that was.
Well, I guess that may be the case, and it may be attributed to some improvements that were done upstream as well. The Littleton Inn here just paved their parking lot, which was all gravel before. And if you go out there, that's a substantial parking lot that's out there, that's not, absorbing water anymore.
Well, if
And they
there's
have-
more water coming on, maybe that pipe is
Oh, some
insufficient.
water.
Well, what I'm saying is,
This pipe. The pipe that's all headed to. Is that pipe sufficient?
this pipe,
Diameter, no, the end point.
this one there, well, that's an existing condition. We
hear it.
couldn't touch that, that's not on our property. So that was.
But I'm asking if it's sufficient size.
It's supposed to have been taken care of.
Sorry, here you go, guys.
This
Yeah,
was
wanna,
supposed to be
like-
taken care of?
That is a lot
Or
of
it-
water.
It's supposed to have been worked with the abutter.
Creating a wetland.
Right, and it was built in accordance with the design.
That's a lot of water.
Now, that's what I'm saying, it,
What date was that? 'Cause we can look back. and see.
These are just this spring here. This is,
Okay. Do you have any idea on the date?
Was that the
Could help, we could
late
look up-
February, early March
We could look up
storm?
how much rain fell that day, that's all. I just thought it would be helpful to get some gauge.
so what I'm saying is, if we propose to mitigate the problem or the issue, we're creating a flow, maybe it's not so much on our property that is having the issue, rather than something that's ponding over here. Maybe this dry well or piping system isn't sufficient to carry any increased water that's coming from upstream. So we made efforts, we designed, and we went to expense to create this. And it appears to be working 95% of the time. Maybe that was an extreme rain circumstance that I don't know.
there's been it's been flooded out 4 times. I don't know when.
I'd
you-
have to
when you
go
did
by
your
a land,
inspections, but-
I mean, I have to go by what the landowner, he's been living there for years. He knows what the water looks like on
My yard never flooded out.
all different types of storms. You can't,
Well, did anybody else make inspections of this during rainstorms? I mean, I don't disprove your video, but we made the inspections that we were required to do.
But he's also saying that maybe it wasn't constructed the way of the way it was designed, like the foot trench by foot trench.
Well,
Right now, the stone is just sitting on top of the ground. That's what's guiding it in its path.
When it was constructed, what depth did they go to when they pulled everything out to put the stone in?
well, I assume that they built it based upon the trench that we designed. I mean,
But that-
I
did-
but
was
I
that
I mean, we
inspection?
weren't,
That's what I'm wondering.
yeah, I
Is
mean,
that
we
verified?
weren't
Was it
there
built?
during the construction, we just knew when it was completed, that's what we did. I mean, we're not gonna dig up the stone to see if the trench was in,
But I think that's, could be the easiest alternative at the moment, is to verify that it was constructed properly, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
it may not have been, and there may be a simple solution to that versus looking, the exploration of what the reason is.
Well, I guess then what I'm saying then is if it's not making it to that dry well, to that pipe, and we build a small berm to maybe channel it in a more direct manner, you still may have the problems. You know, and I guess I don't want every rainstorm to have a knock on the door or a phone call saying, well, my yard's flooded. I mean, we'll make efforts to try to, you know, if the board wants, we'll take a walk out there and see what improvements can be made. But I don't want to be back here every
You may
spring.
have to be if it's not done correctly, because there was, we knew that was gonna be an issue right from the get-go. It was one of the first things that we noticed when we went out to the site.
Yeah, and it was already supposed to be bermed all the
So,
way to that pipe.
It's your issue that needs to
guy.
be fixed.
Well, I know, and I don't have a problem with that, but if you go out there, it is channeled. I mean, it is a distinct channel that was created.
It was filled and dug and filled the way it was.
Supposed to.
It describes on here, and maybe I'm reading it wrong for what you have here, but it's proposed 1.5 foot wide by 1 foot deep drainage swale. And these stones are just sitting on top of the ground. There's nobody dug it foot deep. There's no, it didn't get dug down. I picked up the stones and I'm just looking at topsoil. And the top layer of stones are just sitting beside each other and.
So we proposed this
Was it-
stone recharge trench, which is adjacent to the driveway. And then we proposed these swales. You're saying that those weren't constructed correctly?
Well, I'm saying if it's in this description, right here, 1.5 foot wide by 1 foot deep, there is not 1 foot deep. They're just, the stones are sitting on top of the ground. It's just like, it's like breadcrumbs leading
That's the
to
beginning.
my
So if you-
drywall.
So are you saying you're not sure what is
Well,
out there, like you didn't inspect it?
like I said, we
So-
just inspected
Okay,
it
so-
after it was
So we don't
constructed.
know. I mean, really, we don't know.
So whose
We should be going on.
responsibility is that? Does the town engineer go out? Who goes out?
He's the engineer.
Yeah.
It's part of his discovery.
Right.
But it is also hard, because this property is passing through stormwater from a watershed that's been paved.
Disturbed.
It's getting in warm.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, we'll agree to talk about it and make improvements to verify that that trench is there, first of all, and that if it isn't channeling directly to that point, that's fine. But there really isn't much that we can do if, like Amy said, if there's improvements made upstream, that's going to increase the water flow.
I recognize that.
Okay, then my next statement is then, what if this pipe isn't suitable? The one that's existing here?
I guess we'll find that out.
Well, that's, I guess, my point. I mean, we can make every improvement that we can to channel all that water that's coming from upstream in rainstorms to this particular point. But there's no guarantee that, I can't guarantee, because I don't know what this is.
Right, but you also don't know how it was constructed either.
Oh,
So-
absolutely. And I don't know how this was
I think that's step
constructed
one,
either.
is making sure we're on the same page as far as what the approved plans were, and just verifying, doing some discovery and
And-
verifying that what was approved was actually built. And if,
Constructed.
and then going from there, I think we're kind of going around in circles a
Right.
little bit. And I hear what you're saying, I really do.
No, right.
There are many factors at play, but I think step one is, was it constructed the way,
Mhm.
it was designed, and then.
And if it was, and maybe there is sheet flow instead of it going a channel right to that pipe, we
I
can.
would bring those suggestions to the next meeting, and I think the commission
Then
would
we
be
can
favorable
discuss
to
it.
hear that
Yep.
Right.
for discussion, so. But I think there is additional discovery that needs to be made on your applicant. Okay.
Yep.
So, I'm sorry, one more thing. So you're saying this is an as-built, though?
That's correct.
So does it have depth there that you could compare to that, or not? Is there not insufficient information right there to say whether or not it meets?
The information that's shown here is what was visible at the time we did the survey. And what we did visually at the time, we took locations with elevations, and they're consistent, if not exact, to what was proposed. But however, the next question is, was that trench installed, and is it visible? I mean, I can't.
But can't you tell that from elevation?
I can tell you that the elevation of the stone that's in place is accurate.
So
But
the
you know
top,
how you
Yeah.
actually dug it down.
The stone could just be laying on the ground.
That he has to
Right.
verify how it was actually installed under the ground.
So,
Which
Well,
is a
but if,
trench.
if
Or that
it's
it was,
trenched,
because-
then,
it wasn't, that's the problem.
but I mean, you,
But we don't know.
okay, so the elevation is the top of the stone, but you didn't do elevations as you were digging?
Correct.
And then,
No, we
because,
didn't, no.
because technically they should do that, you know, in order to say, to see whether or not they trenched it 1 foot, they would take an elevation to see if they dug down.
Septic system,
That's the proper way to put it in a trench. So I don't know if that was what you did, to take a measurement after you dug
After it was
and then
completed,
filled it.
That's when we did our locations, when it was completed.
Are you talking about on this side or?
No,
Both
that
sides.
side.
Yeah, because this is not dug down at all.
It'll be both sides.
This is just sitting on top
It
of the
would be
ground.
both sides.
Okay.
And if we have pictures that we can show during the construction of that stone trench, that would be helpful to you guys as well.
Although pictures is sometimes hard to tell.
I
depth.
said in addition.
Well, yeah, 'cause that's the
Yeah.
pictures after they did it. I didn't have a picture
Right.
while they were doing it.
Right.
All right, we gotta keep going. Yep, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
continue public hearing, notice of intent. Fur Lane off Spruce Road, R 815 Mass DEP number 204-8XX, subdivision construction of 3 single-family homes in the buffer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the record, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates, along with Mr. David Guthrie, the applicant. So, after last month's meeting, we staked out the houses for commissioners to walk it. Then it was brought to our attention that limited work should be staked, which we did last Friday. And that was, generally speaking, you know, it was the limit of work for this project. Since that has been done, we generated a wildlife access corridor planting plan, and identifies each one of these specific corridors and what we're proposing to do on that. While that's not really a part of this notice of intent, it was expressed some interest that we start moving that forward. So we're not looking for any action on that tonight, but if the commission would like to discuss it. As a part of this, Wildlife Access Corridor A is next to Fur Lane, and we did include some additional plantings in the open space area where there's going to be a little proposed grading for roadway construction. We received a comment through Amy that there was potentially some concern about changing grades and changing watershed contributory areas and whatnot. And if you look at this specific section, it's very simplistic in what happens right now with water. What's cleared is the ridge line that's tributary towards Fraser Street, and what's treed, where you walk the limit of work in the houses, is tributary to the wetlands. Our proposed design is to mirror that. Front yards go to the road, rear yards go towards the wetlands to be collected by a swale at the toe of the slope. So we're not fundamentally changing grading. Yes, we have a cut through the hill here, but there's hill that's going to remain, and the cut is actually on the downslope side that sheds water towards towards infiltration basin 3. You know, with that said, we're here to address any other concerns with respect to this notice of intent. Amy did receive Phase 2 and Phase 4 draft plans so that we can just drill down on fees, and we're expecting to file those 2 notice of intents, you know, this week to next week. It would be our goal tonight to potentially come to a position where we could close this public hearing and move towards an order of conditions. Hopefully, you know, at the June meeting, and then at that June meeting, we would be picking up kind of where we're leaving off and go right into Phase 2 and Phase 4.
So when are you gonna tackle the pond?
Which pond?
Farm pond.
Yeah.
We're talking about the culvert.
Seems you're-
So timing on the culvert installation is dictated by Mike. I don't know exactly.
I think he's on it. He's on lot 11 now. We poured concrete there today. I don't know if it was footing the walls, but when he backfills that, then he'll work his way out with the pipe.
Because I saw you were pumping into the catch basin the other day.
Yeah, that's the dewatering process.
But you've also put the foundation in directly across to about 2.5, yeah,
Yeah.
where you had been pumping too, I thought.
No, we never pumped over there.
So were you dewatering because the farm pond was filling again?
We just managed to try and get it as low as we can, so when we put the pipe in, we don't have mud flowing across the street. you know.
So while we're on this topic, while it's not what we were supposed to talk about, is what's the sequence of, so if we're gonna dewater, we're gonna do the pipe, and then we're gonna try and clean up the basin?
I believe that's the intent, right? So it's dewater, pipe, and then reevaluate what we have going on down there.
Yeah, as soon as it dries out. Right, we keep getting rain, water table's high. But I would say that that's a
So
good
road
July
drainage or any additional drainage from the new 3, where is that coming to?
There's a small system located right off of Fur
So
Lane.
it's staying on that site, it's not coming down the road?
It'll ultimately discharge, it gets collected by catch basins at the end, mitigated, and then at the ultimate point it discharges over by 3.
I've always felt that we need to finish this project before we add more contributing water to an area that we know is fragile. Don't drink that, Amy.
I'm not going to, but I keep reaching for it. What is that? It's a caddisfly.
Caddisfly. Why?
What is it?
Caddisfly. I don't know if any of you had seen one. It's a small one, but
That's cool.
So
a
regarding
little
the,
show and tell.
I agree with Sarah.
regarding
Yeah.
Bossman Fraser, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Julie.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I actually would echo Sarah's concerns. We've had, surprises with the farm pond not really being sure what and why. I don't think we ever.
And we still don't know where
truly
the
got to
water's coming
bottom of
from.
it. There's probably
I
some
thought that was
pipes
part of
going
our,
through
we're
there.
gonna find that out.
Do share the concerns, of Sarah from a runoff standpoint.
I just don't want to open up another can of worms up top, potentially.
Right.
Well, we haven't satisfied.
And we don't know if the pipe, the
Below
pipe's not
that.
gonna work.
Yep, so again, what's contributory to this area right now is we're not changing that. So whatever runoff is heading towards Lot 13, towards Fraser Street, it's getting there right now. We're not
I think we're
changing
talking
that.
also about
And
the
then,
cut as well, so that we potentially could be doing things underground, not necessarily at the surface.
so this is a very specific kind of hill area where it's generally flat and sloping this way, whereas there's a very small kind of outcropping. You can see it
You mean where the cut is now?
where the cut is now, correct. So,
How much more of that cut has to come out?
do you know how close he got to subgrade?
He's pretty close. I mean,
So
obviously, we need to
probably
grade
not
up
much
into that
more.
buffer zone. We
Yeah.
stopped there, but we gotta shape that out. But it's, I know we're not talking Bossman Fraser, but the question was opening up more stuff. Bossman Fraser is, we have seeded the last lot, which is Lot 2. The rest is stabilized. That's gonna allow us, DPW wants us to pave Fraser this summer. He's got a 2-year limit, a moratorium, so to speak, on his exposure for binder, which is terribly short, but that's his policy. So we're gonna try and bring that up through here. This, I believe we have most of the lawns in. We're hopeful that we're in a good growing season right now and can get this piece stabilized. Obviously, we didn't have the headaches on this road that we had down there, and I think we've hashed that through quite frequently, but Lot 11 will be shaped and that pipe brought over because we are, if we're not out of this rainy season, we're pretty darn close to it in the middle of May. And then that'll give us a chance to get up here, and if we can get the work done this summer, we can stabilize it in the fall. If we kick it down the road, then we end up in one of those areas that we're exposed into the non-growing season, which we all know what happens
Many
there.
commissioners got a chance to go out and see
No.
I haven't seen it.
I didn't go in there, but I did see the cut.
So my suggestion would be, once they have the additional stakes in for the area in the back, set an actual site visit.
The stakes are in.
The
They were
stakes are in,
as of
yeah.
Friday.
The additional ones.
The entire limit of work has been staked. The houses are staked, the septic system
But I
is
think
staked, the
it's-
roadway is staked.
For some of us, it's easy to go out because we know the lane to go out, but I think for the other commissioners to go out and to have one or two of you there to kind of walk them through that. I think that's important.
So that's what we had asked for, and it was expressed that each
And-
individual commissioner
Yeah,
just wanted
so we went
to.
out, and then we realized that more was needed.
We're happy to show it to you.
Yeah.
It's easy.
I mean, would you
The
like
choice to
set
go
a date?
independently was yours, but we're happy to show it to you.
Mhm.
I will say, you can't close tonight. Did you get a DEP number?
We do not have a
Yeah.
DEP number right now. We're still chasing that with Central.
Yeah.
So I realized the order of conditions couldn't be issued tonight because that critical fact.
Okay.
But I guess if the consensus is another site walk,
Well, I think the
Can
other
we-
commissioners need to go out.
Yeah.
could we set that date tonight?
And you've got a planning plan for, well, I guess,
The access corridor.
for the access, what is that, A, that's right there?
A through E.
But A is of
A is right next
of
to
particular
the-
interest to this
Yep.
one, yeah.
If I'm correct, where that was derived, I think there was some conversation that we were sort of less interested in the four-leggeds there and more interested in the smaller critters. Was that what I heard, Sarah,
It's birds.
on that planting plan?
Go back to my notes on that.
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, what you've got in here is kind of a combination of shrubs and some pollinators and stuff, so it's a good mix.
So applicant is asking for a site walk. New time.
Do you want
I've
to
been out,
do
like,
Wednesday at
somewhere.
6?
Wednesday at 6, sure.
When?
Maybe Wednesday at 6, so then we could
Isn't
do
that when
this
you're
and
at
then Harley.
6:30.
Yeah, you guys could do it 6, and I'll meet you at 97 after that. 6:30.
Does that sound good?
You guys know where you're meeting?
No. No, we do.
on my
No doubt. So, you need to put tick spray on.
Yeah.
So you can meet right at you'll see the big cut as you drive up, past the pond, go up. There's plenty of road access there. Okay. Cool.
All right.
I'll take the wildlife plan. So that's this Wednesday at 6.
Great, we'll see you then. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I could get out. It was pouring rain, so I did drive by and did not see much.
Yeah. Well, no, you
It's
guys
the only day I
just
did.
go in.
Yeah.
Just where.
No, I definitely didn't see what I
Good
needed to
close.
see because it was
If you want to
pouring.
postpone,
It's the only chance I
Yeah,
had.
don't-
postpone the Cloverdale
Yeah.
Conservation Land thing.
Yes.
I think we talked about that plenty tonight.
Then.
Other than,
I'll just continue to June 4th.
should we hit it lightly as to, you kind of have to come up with some sort of
Yeah,
a scheme
actually.
of
Well, just the
how
sequence.
things were, sequence of how things were gonna be.
Yeah, which is not just boardwalk discussion, but it's the whole thing. So, yeah, I can come up with a sequence. I think the costs for the parking lot, I can't do. But,
I think Oak Hill will
Come up
give
with
you-
something.
I think will give you a rough idea.
yeah, I mean, because Oak Hill also had a lot more design costs in it, and I am leaning towards, I think Chris can do basically a design build
Yeah.
for a 6-lot gravel parking lot. It's got a little more slope to it than Oak Hill did, but, so the only thing to discuss would be where would the money come from, because we take it from the Oak Hill Fund.
Well, that's what I didn't dare say that.
It might be cleaner than trying to go to CPA for this one in particular, because there's also eventually, and I'm assuming after Cloverdale is, I think Joyce Williams needs a parking lot. So that
There's a whole bunch of
is
things.
potentially the next in queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to have that conversation about coming up with, a hit list, but haven't had time.
I got a scoop, but I will see everybody on Wednesday.
See you then.
Hi, Sarah.
Lots of ticks.
Lots
Okay,
of
but
ticks.
next time, regulations.
Yes, we have to get it done. What about bike racks at our?
So we will just
talking about-
continue Cloverdale to June 4th
Okay.
in the meeting, so.
We were always talking about car parking, but what
Yes.
about having bike racks at
You
the
would,
cars?
you would ride down Route 2A
I think we've got a
at
lot of
5
bikes.
o'clock.
Well, anywhere.
Don't we get a lot of
2A?
bikes on 2A?
Yeah.
I bike 110.
Well, you know what would help? If
Sidewalk.
the town puts sidewalks in, that's
Can't bike on a
normal.
sidewalk.
Huh?
Can't bike on a sidewalk.
Why
It's
can't
illegal.
you?
You're not supposed to.
Because it's.
Oh, are you serious?
On 119?
So if there was a
Yes, you are.
sidewalk, you wouldn't
can do
bike
that.
on the sidewalk?
No, I certainly have biked on the sidewalk. However, you're
Well,
not
I'm
supposed
gonna bike
to.
on the sidewalk.
It's
That's true.
not legal. You're not supposed to bike on
Well,
the
if the
sidewalk.
town had the foresight
I
to put
bike on 110
sidewalks
to
in,
work
we'd be in a
from
lot better shape. Maybe the master plan will talk about
I
that.
thought they were supposed to. It was something from like Flag.
Did the master
down.
plan talk about that?
But if you spend over a certain amount of money. Oh, no, that's a bike
Finger on the
lane.
common, that's
Just to
about
put a
it.
bike
Yeah,
lane.
what about Russell Street? Yeah,
That
the
they're gonna
whole
put a
thing
bu-
is supposed to be a
What?
bike path.
What?
Russell Street.
Oh, I think
They got the
bike
sidewalk
lanes.
and then they have
Oh,
designated
yeah.
one lane of Russell Street for a bike path.
Bike may use a
Really?
lane.
It's for school, getting to school.
Going back to,
Okay.
so are we done with Cloverdale?
Basically, I think coming away from the meeting that
Mhm.
they wanted, was the DOT was the big issue.
Sound like that, right? They're
That's
gonna
what
make
they-
that phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and also setting up a site walk.
I
Yeah,
don't
with
think,
the
that- I don't think the DOT should be an issue because you've got gristmill dumping out, you've got 15 Great Road dumping out and
I
with
almost-
6-car parking
I
lot.
was wondering if
And
there
there's
was-
driveways all along there.
I was also wondering if there wasn't also a small curb cut there.
Yeah,
Some-
there is already.
So
That's my
you're just
recollection.
expanding what's existing.
So maybe you don't even need,
Yeah.
DPW's approval, maybe just
I
use the
think we just
existing.
need to go find
Yeah,
out.
I think we need to
Yeah.
go, I mean, we need to go through the process. Obviously, we
Yeah.
need to go through the process. I also, one thing from
Satisfy the
tonight,
neighbors.
we may need to go look. I don't know if the word debris means actual debris, or I think they're talking about woody debris
They
when
are.
they say debris.
They're talking about woody debris.
Yeah.
The brush piles.
Well, they
Yeah,
talk about
so-
chairs, but
okay.
those are gone, right?
No, it's woody debris.
If it's a
And they
farm-
burned
if
most of it,
it's-
they couldn't get to it all, the weather just didn't
Yeah, no, the
cooperate,
weather
so-
definitely didn't cooperate.
If it's
I
a
understand
farm
that.
meadow, you can get a brush permit to burn it.
Oh,
Okay,
oh, that's
so maybe
interesting.
we
Outside
could-
of the burn.
So we can look
Yes.
into burning
If it's
outside.
considered a
Actually, 'cause
farm
that's what
meadow.
Rick said last time, and you said
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Oh.
I don't know, is it considered a farm meadow?
That's what the public was sold,
Well, I mean, we could look into it.
so you
Look
can
into it.
burn outside the things, call it the fire department and see what they have to say about it.
I
Yeah.
think if
Because I
you
was-
cook food
I
on it, you
burned-
can do it.
I burned after
Bring
the
marshmallows for
closing.
this.
That's what they did last time.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth looking into. It's obviously, I'm sympathetic to, the abutters' issues, and, I mean, it seems like if they can burn, why not take care of it?
They can clean
Seems
up
worth
the
getting
mess, it
looked
would
into.
satisfy things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I keep hearing over and over, is the condition and the duration.
I think you made a very good point that these things
They
do
do,
look
and
terrible initially, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I do think maybe spelling out a little more, what was there and the invasive species, and also perhaps, like, I know the highways department has been working a lot on removal of invasives. Like at Castle in the Trees, there was a big plastic mat over a stand of what was Japanese
Japanese
knotweed.
knotweed, probably, yeah.
And
Good luck
so,
with
I mean,
that.
so this is something that we're doing, it's just, and it's not pretty when you do it. But
Rick
perhaps the
Finlay was gonna send
reinforcement.
them maybe before pictures, I heard him say.
I
so.
think the big issue is you're dealing with free help. It's
Yeah.
not like you've got a workforce that you can say,
Right, yeah,
go
it's
do
volun-
it.
Right.
Right.
No,
And
it is
it
voluntary.
would it would cost a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and invasive plant management, it's a marathon, like it really is, it's constant, and like he showed me the buckthorn, and that, he's like, oh, I just have to keep mowing over this over and over and over, it's,
Yeah.
What
To control it.
herbicide would take it out?
They have sprayed it, Cloverdale.
Yeah,
But, it's,
Rick's more up to speed on that
Yeah.
than I am, for sure.
Certified.
Yeah, yep.
All right, let's go on to the continued public hearing notice of 10 Fort Pond.
they asked for a continuance, so I don't know where they are with the vernal pool investigation, but they're not coming in tonight.
Okay.
Can we go back up to the top at this point?
I think that's a great idea.
Possible violation, 9 Great Road, Berkshire.
Luckily, I am in contact with the owners, and so trying to see what's,
Is that the one that I had brought up to you?
no, that was the 9 Great Road one, which I kind of asked if you just put it off until,
That's next to 15, isn't it?
yeah, it's next to 15.
That was the one I had you look at, right?
Yeah, did you want to go out and look at that together sometime, or?
So do you think it's an issue or no?
It was hard to tell how much they've already been doing. It has been going on there forever in the past. There's a lot of stuff, if I'm remembering now, because it's been a while since I went out there, pushed off to the side.
Right.
And I got distracted by the shiny new violations, so that one kind of dropped by the side.
All right.
But maybe we can stop by and take a look at it. You can see it very easily from 15 Great Road also, if you go out one of the
Right.
basins there.
Right.
No, wait, is it before or after 15?
It's on the
It's-
Acton side.
It's before, right after the
Before-
tire barn. It's the
Oh,
house right
okay.
after the tire
Yeah.
barn.
Okay.
A landscaper operates out of there,
Oh.
My
So you can
question is,
imagine.
Is it Acton or Littleton?
Littleton.
It's Littleton.
Okay.
And what, the one in Loxley is debris as well, right? Lots
Yeah, a lot of
like,
brush.
wood and brush, whatever.
Yeah, there's like berms of brush pushed into the buffer zone and straight up to the stream.
So have letters been written, or what's
So,
the
yeah,
status?
so I sent letters out to what I thought were 2 owners. It was only one, I had the wrong address. The other one, I went out and talked to it, and I agree with them, it's not their problem. So
Oh.
I sent out more letters to more butters, so
I see. Okay.
slowly getting there,
Discovery.
yeah.
Okay.
Request for certificate of compliance, 41 Goldsmith Street.
That was a septic system that is all done and stable, so they wanted to get their certificate of compliance for that. This is also the one where they just made basically a worst-case assumption that that was bordering vegetated wetland at 39 Goldsmith, which turned out they went into going to the Army Corps, and it's isolated, so
Oh.
41 Goldsmith ended up not really being in a buffer zone anyway. So,
Oh.
So somebody want to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 41 Goldsmith Street?
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 41 Goldsmith Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll send you the.
While we're doing that, crest certificate of 169 Peak Street.
169 was, what was it, barking dog? What was the old filing? That never got built.
Oh, that was that kennel?
Yeah, it wasn't barking dog, it was something like that. I'm not even sure what the original was, but it never got built, so this is one of those certificate of compliance for, to say nothing got done.
Oh.
Where, 169 King Street?
That's behind Pondview, right? The,
Oh, that's,
Oh,
is that?
Oh, it
your-
is, yeah.
That's
Is
that
your
red,
Caldwell
that big
property?
red barn, that big red barn.
169 is the
Caldwell property.
White House. It actually, the numbers are written out on the house, 169. It's
Yeah.
like the white one on the
They
corner
used
with
to-
the red barns in the back.
Used to be a whole chicken operation there. Chicken
Oh,
operation.
I could see that.
Well, there were a lot of chickens in Littleton.
Yep.
I have chickens.
Oh, you have chickens? What?
Really, both of you?
Well, these were big farms for chickens, not
I
just.
don't have a big chicken farm.
They were-
Everybody had a
5
couple hundred
chickens.
chickens at one point on the farm.
Oh, well.
Really? Oh my
Cows,
gosh.
apples,
Yeah.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So somebody want to make a motion to,
Issue an invalid order of conditions certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Seconded.
I heard a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that?
The ex-building inspector bought that property.
Oh,
There was that before Roland Bernier. He lives up on the hill across the street from this piece of property.
Oh, the big White House?
Yeah,
It was a long time ago then. Roland's been here for like 30 years.
yeah, but this was, I can't think of the guy's name.
Well, what about the reappointments?
Yeah,
Yep, that's next. Jim, Carl, and Julie. I have the forms here, or
Great.
you can do it online. I would take it. One person did call about it, so he's coming in next week. So you guys are under threat.
Uh-oh.
Is it, do you know who?
Matt Cahill, he works at DCR. That's pretty much all I know.
I think I met him. I think I met him recently. Okay.
Oh, really? On the train?
So what do we do
I'd
with?
like to say, but.
Nagog Pond Beaver Control, just so you know, Concord Water got approval to go out and trap the beaver out there. Since they're water supply, they can do that.
Okay.
So if you hear anything.
other updates.
And I have a few other things besides that. The only thing I have one, I'm sort of on vacation June 4th, so I won't be here. But Sue Raymond will be here to at least record the vote. She probably, so I will get everything set up for her to hand off to you, hopefully. Sign this, sign that. Be kind.
Where are you going?
Oh, well, I'm flying to Des Moines to meet my daughter who's driving back from Denver, and then I'm going to drive the rest of the way from Des Moines all the way out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't take 30 hours. Pick me up in Des Moines, and we'll go from there.
Wow.
That's the worst part of the trip.
Well, it's all the worst part of the trip.
Oh no.
Well, it's like a flat,
straight.
flyby street.
Yeah,
Seems
exactly.
a lot of flooding
funny.
going on. Or is it
This
not?
is, it should all be just fine by the time we get there.
It'd be all right.
I said, meet me in Des Moines, I got a hotel, we'll have a drink. We'll start driving back to Acton.
I got a question for you. Has anything ever been done with the hydrogen plant that they were proposing?
They are
to-
up and running.
Where is it?
Oh, wait, I'm thinking of the,
The FIBA? The.
yeah, is that what they are
They're
now?
hydrogen.
Air,
Yeah.
something air, was it?
Air
Air
liquide.
liquide.
Air liquide.
Yeah.
Are they up and running?
Yeah, I think I know they've been, yeah, because they got their certificate of occupancy or whatever it is, and they got their certificate of compliance a while back now.
Because I thought, they tore down part of the building. I thought whatever they were gonna do was part where right off the old pre-stress building. I thought that was,
Yeah, it's, and not the backside, but where you make the turn before you're going around the big loop, back in there.
so it is,
Yeah, I've never actually seen, a truck or whatever going through there, but, so I assume
They
they're
have
up
big
and running.
tanks there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
it's all gated and,
and Middlesex is, I see they're up and, I think they're up and going too across the street.
The cement plant?
Yeah,
Are they operational? They have
I've
the,
seen
they have the track in there and
We have a couple
The
cranes
train.
and a fleet of new cement trucks.
I saw the fleet.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Super.
Yeah.
I've seen them
Spiffy.
moving around.
I've seen their huge crane from the other side of Littleton.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's-
Oh,
I don't
meeting
know that
minutes.
they're doing.
Yes, and some other things too. You want to do the minutes?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Anybody got any omissions or corrections for the minutes?
Nope, oh, sweet. I just have very, very tiny things, so,
Tiny.
yeah. Nothing to even bother mentioning. Just typos and.
Okay, perfect.
So nothing major.
Nothing major.
Anybody else got any corrections or omissions?
Nope.
No.
Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anything else, Amy?
I got a couple things. Andrew,
Uh-oh.
can we have that open space sit down that I was going to try to do with you and Rick and whoever at some point? I know your
Yeah.
work schedule is terrible.
Yes. I think I have Friday off this week, so we could probably maybe meet like in the afternoon or early morning.
Okay, yeah, I think Jim might prefer O'Neill the afternoon, so let me see what their, oh my God,
Yeah.
It's like it sucks, you got a full-time job, we never get a hold of you anymore.
It's an everyday thing. We work every day of the week, so it's.
I saw you up there on Sunday delivering.
Did you see me out on Sunday?
That's funny.
Yeah, boy, the post office has changed, haven't they?
Oh my gosh, we're so busy. It's
Used
crazy.
to be done by 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh,
Those days
not,
are gone.
Not anymore. Saturday was 6 to like 6:30.
Oh,
Yeah, I did your mail like a couple weeks ago. I work in Littleton occasionally, so.
that's
Oh,
funny.
so it changes all the time? Your route?
Saw him in Westford.
Well, oh, you saw me. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It was your office.
Yeah.
I'm on a different route every day, so it
Oh, wow.
varies.
Well, you
So
get your
are
own
you a
route.
substitute guy?
Yes, that's
The
you start
floater.
out as a sub.
Oh.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
around.
so it's.
We have a substitute in our neighborhood. When that happens, havoc breaks
I've
out.
Oh,
done
man.
it.
Yeah,
I.
sometimes that's
Oh, really?
We just get everybody
so
else's
funny.
mail.
Oh no!
I didn't get mail for like 3 days.
I did your mail last Wednesday,
It
so
fills the
hopefully.
neighborhood, you gotta return
Oh.
mail, you gotta
Good
talk
job.
to each other.
You get OT?
No, it's rated very differently depending on what you're doing for the day, but yeah, Littleton
If
has
you
their
work
mail
more than
so
8
good.
hours, you don't get any.
Well, it's an evaluated system, so if you work a route, you get paid for the routes. If you go over the time, you don't get paid for the extra hours. That's why you got to try to hurry and get it
Oh, they
done.
don't get paid. Wow.
Yeah, city
'Cause,
carriers, it's hourly.
UPS
but-
does that too, I think. You get paid for the route, not for your hours.
Wow, that stinks, man.
Yeah, because if
Well,
they load you up.
that's why the mail just gets
Yeah.
scattered, because you don't care. At the end of the day, it's like, here. Let's
Oh, no, no,
That's the biggest mailbox.
You just want to empty the
Yeah, right.
empty the truck. I'm done.
stick it in
No,
the
no, no,
You think about it, though. I can
Yeah.
guarantee it gets 5:30, 6:30.
Well,
So
we're
open
at-
space, did you say?
Our house
anything?
is at 29 Juniper, and then we're right across from 29 Woodland.
I got confused the other day with that.
Yes,
It's
well,
very
always
confusing.
everyone gets confused, I guess, because we always get, we have to
Well,
redeliver.
what I want to do with the open space first is make sure I understand what's going on with open space and between the Open Space Committee and you guys and Littleton Conservation Trust. Especially because, issues have been raised about insurance and, all sorts of stuff on there. And because when I started, Art Lazarus was sick, so I never really talked to him. And so there had been sort of this whole gap where, in my head, the land stewards and LCT were one and the same, and they're not really. They are sort of.
They are kind of.
And I think we might need to tease them apart a little bit.
I think we need a more formal agreement, and maybe the land stewards
An
can be.
MOU.
It's weird because the land stewards are in charge of trust properties as well,
Right.
so it's not entirely under us.
They are wearing two hats.
Yeah.
I literally thought, well, let's just get them two hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or get them some T-shirts.
So maybe.
Now, we really should know who is a land steward on what, especially on
Yeah.
our properties.
I've got all that,
Yeah,
and Jim O'Neill has taken over for Art, officially, so, when they came in, said, these are the projects, so, we're getting back to, I think, my impression is where it had been, where they're coming in more often,
Yeah.
and, maybe even just like quarterly or something.
Maybe it
Updates.
might be good to just, I don't know if it'd be like an informal appointment by us. Like if they're on town property, we could just say, okay, you're land steward of Mill Hill.
Right. Or just accept what,
Yeah.
yeah, accept what they've already had formally.
Yeah.
I'm also looking into having waivers signed, which I think most towns do. So we can just get that, so, we got paperwork going.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
paperwork piece. So that was kind of my goal of sitting down with you and Rick, and then after that, maybe get some more formal discussions about where do you want to go?
Yeah, Friday afternoon
Okay.
should work.
Okay, all right, I'll see if they're around. All right. And just FYI, Fort Pond aquatic weed control is about to happen. If you hear anything.
Has that been renewed? Did he get his thing? He went ahead of-
No, because they're good for, 3 years or something, so they're working under the other one.
When is Long Ponds happening, do you know?
I saw that, and I didn't check, because it sounded like she was on her way in the trails.
Okay.
But I get the notices. Now, here's Fort Pond, Oh, that's just the license. They don't say when it's gonna happen, but they send me the notice when it's actually gonna happen.
Okay.
Nagog Hill Road is back in action, so it's getting finished, but they have a environmental monitor who does a great job, so she's looking at everything. She's got pictures of all the stuff that needs work on.
Touch base with Jimmy Clyde about asking about the gas company. And evidently, they just put the subcoat down. And this guy that's building a big house or something along there couldn't make up his mind whether to
Kinghorn.
have it.
Or was
have
that the one
gas
down
or
here,
not.
Kinghorn?
Finally, he did it the last moment before they put the finished coat down, so they'd dig it all up and put the gas line in.
Well, I'm trying to do a site walk out there at that Kinghorn property, hopefully next week sometime, for the construction piece, not for the conservation restriction
And
piece.
the other thing I found
Okay.
out was there's a mandate for the gas company to replace all the metal pipes with plastic pipe. That's why they're digging up the roads all over town.
Huh, there it is. And then, I think the last thing I have is the municipal vulnerability preparedness,
Oh, that.
which you guys all said. But it's tomorrow. Yeah, and
I can't go, there's no way.
I know, it's
I have
a
nasty
commitment. It's a
deadline.
7-hour workshop split into 2 nights.
I have 3 weeks' worth of work to complete between today and Wednesday.
You can probably do that
There's-
Tuesday night at the workshop.
there's no-
What
I
time is
actually
the
spoke
workshop?
with Aaron.
They're from
He's
6
like,
to 9:30.
even before this new
I've got to take
pylon.
my son to his trombone lesson.
I will just tell Diane nobody can go. Diane Corey. And I'll give her all your emails.
I'm sure she's got it.
Yeah, well, actually, she did. She sent this to you like that initially. And I assume nobody wants to look at the regulations, so that's it. Unless somebody wants to see the little caddis fly.
What is that?
This is the caddis fly. They're the guys that build their own little houses with stones or sticks or whatever they got. So it's like a little tunnel, and they wrap it around themselves.
It's a bug?
Well, there's a bug
Yeah.
inside it.
Yeah, it's like
It's like a snail kind of, but they build their own.
It's a
It has a
indication
head,
of
little,
good water
little
quality.
feet,
Where
and
did
then
you
a
find
long
it?
tubular
This is
body.
an active.
Really?
And it has a fleshy body, so it likes to encase itself to protect itself.
And then caddis fly comes out and crawls along the bottom of the pond.
Is this alive right now, or is it?
Yeah, I thought there was nobody inside it, but he crawled out, so I put water in there. and-
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It's a kind of a
Wait.
small one, but they're pretty cool.
There?
Where did you find it?
In Acton, created vernal pool.
Yeah, that is really cool. House.
It had a very nice
That's
morning.
crazy, wow.
There was a dragonfly down.
And we haven't had any more conversation about the lawsuit then?
I was wondering about that,
No.
too. Okay.
Okay.
Lawsuit?
DEP is dragging their heels.
Fort Pond.
Yeah.
On what? Which one?
Fort Pond.
The 5 Cottage Way.
Cottage Grove.
Christopher
Oh.
was listening. That appeal.
So,
Motion to adjourn?
Wait, so last time I knew.
Second.
Sorry.
You're done.
do I hear a second?
Yep.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Kill it.